I always dry fit pieces of a miniature before assembly, but I've never tried to dry fit the entire miniature all at once. In this case, this is an instance where I should have done so. It was halfway through gluing the pieces together that I realized the neck piece was supposed to go between the two halves of the shoulders and the sphere, because now it won't fit. I could try to pry it apart or freeze it in the hopes that the glue becomes brittle, but I took the lazy route and slowly whittled away the sides of the plate until it slid into place. And of course, once it did, it wasn't coming back out. Thankfully, I hadn't yet attached the legs, so I was able to sneak some super glue in from the bottom. As luck would have it, you can't see any gaps created by my trimming, so with that disaster averted, I move on to building out the base by gluing several layers of cork sheet down and tearing away some of the overhang before hiding these layers with AK Interactive's texture paste. While the paste is still wet, I sprinkle on some bits from the Army Painter's Battlefield basing set that I have left over, and apparently I accidentally started to record this in slow motion, so excuse a sudden drop in video quality. Anyway, next I need some green stuff to glue to the bottom of the base before seating a neodymium magnet with additional glue. The green stuff will ensure the magnet is flush with whatever surface this miniature is placed upon, and if you intend on magnetizing bases for a miniature, this should always be the first step. Once everything is together, I head outside and prime the miniature black. Some of the loose Army Painter pebbles are dislodged from the compressed air, but the vast majority remain in place. I follow the primer up with a zenithal of Golden's titanium white. I could have used ink, but since I'll be using speed paints, I do not want to spend the time to varnish. Speaking of speed paints, I base coat everything on this miniature with speed paints, starting with the metals. I started with metallics first, as if I get it anywhere I do not want it, I can come back with the titanium white and cover it before I apply any non-metallic speed paints. Now, in consideration for the runtime of this video, I'll be showing steps for the silver metals, the flesh, the hair, and one step for the smoke. Trimming the rest out doesn't really matter since there isn't any fancy techniques really being used, and each step can be summed up with the following: a prime and zenithal, a base coat, anti-zenithal shadow, an oil wash, and 2 or more highlights. And as always, a spreadsheet will be provided at the end of this video detailing any colors I used for each part of the miniature. After the oil wash is applied, I wait maybe 15 to 30 minutes and then come back with a makeup sponge to clean off the excess. The only reason why I choose makeup sponges over Q-tips is because I do not want to spend the time picking off the wispy strands later. For the silver highlights, I use the same base coat silver to correct anywhere I got too much of the purple from the anti-zenithal spray before I added an edge highlight and some scratches, mostly on the upraised areas, using a bright silver ink. Though it's not shown, I did the exact same steps, save for using a different color paint for the gold areas. The rest of the highlights on the miniature are treated much the same, with the only exception of trying to apply them in a less scratchy and more smoother fashion. The flesh deviates a little as well, but this was not intentional, and it was more of me getting the face too pale when compared to the arms, so I ended up going back and forth on the face with a peachy color, before ultimately having to tint it with a few passes of the same speed paint that I used for the base coat. And from here, I'm going to take this opportunity to save some breath and just let the music roll. Haha, I'm back! I wasn't really happy with the light bluish gray of the smoke, as it barely stood out from the purplish silver on the harpoon beside it, so I used some of the lightest green I used to highlight the plants, thinned it down to a glaze, and tinted the smoke a light pastel green. This kept it clearly distinguishable from silver on the harpoon, as well as the green plants next to it. I then black out the base, and I can finally call it a night. This is where I stopped. I have mixed feelings about this miniature, and honestly, I wasn't all that enthusiastic about painting it. I did look at the Vongrim Harpoon crew set, and there are some of the miniatures in there that I would have liked to paint. This just happened to be the one that I liked the least. The metal areas were fun, and different from what I normally paint, but that was mostly due to the sculpt. As for the rest, it was just meh. I do like how the flesh came out, and the silver metals with the purple shadows. And oddly enough though, my favorite part of this is the green smoke and how well it contrasts against the purple. For lessons learned, if I'm going to magnetize a base, I really need to do that first. It's not an absolute make it or break it action, but it's significantly easier as opposed to doing it later in the process. I also need to remember to pay more attention to dry fitting pre-assembly, to avoid any problems where pieces are assembled in the wrong order. I looked out and was able to fix it easily this time, but next time I may not be so lucky. There are a few spots as well that I missed painting silver metallics on, such as the rivets on the leather gloves, and I'll need to go back and add a touch here and there. And finally, I think if I painted the pants another color that was not purple, I think that would go a long way with me liking this miniature more. Having purple shadows cast from a well-lit purple ground, along with purple pants, granted that of a different tone, still makes for too much purple. Maybe I could have done dark green pants. And with that self-imposed question looming in the air, I'll bring this video to its end. I hope you learned something or inspired to start or expand your own collection of monster harpooning metal air balloon backpack wearing dwarves. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and if you like the content of this video and would like to see more, you can easily support the channel by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I'm Jim with Working with Miniatures. I'm truly grateful for your time, and I bid you a fond farewell. Until the next video.